Hello, welcome to my newest LeetCode video where I just go through a random LeetCode question for the first time and solve it as if I was in a real interview, or at least attempt to solve it. And if I can't, then we'll learn together where we went wrong and the optimal solution. So today I'm going to do a medium. Just thinking, should we do the daily, or I think actually I'm going to take one from one of these lists. I think we'll do the must do list since it's a must do, as I've never done one before, and we're just looking for a medium one. What do I need practice with? Maybe a hash map? Hash maps maybe? Intervals maybe? Linked lists and trees definitely, but I might do that after. I might warm up with a bit of an easy one today, and then we can do a more difficult one. Definitely not bit manipulation. That was terrifying the first time I did it. Or we could do a bit of DP as well. I think I will start off with maybe a hash one, pretty easy one. How about longest consecutive sequence? Normally I would pick a random one, but I think it's good to get a good mix of pure randoms and deliberate practicing as well. Alright, so let's get ready to begin. Get the timer ready and start the timer when we start reading. So this one's called longest consecutive sequence. So we're given an unsorted array of integers called nums, and we want to return the length of the longest consecutive elements sequence and the algorithm must be in big O of n time. So I'll just write that down, just so we've got it down here. So given an unsorted array of int nums, and we want to return the length of the longest consecutive elements sequence in O(n) time. Alright, let's see if we can do that. Let's go through these examples. So that's weird. So in this example, we've got nums is 104, 200, 132. The output is 4 because the longest consecutive element sequence is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so they don't have to be in consecutive in the actual given array. It means just the longest different elements that if you put them together, they move up one by one. In this one it's 9 because you can go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Fair enough. And so nums, they can be between 0 and 10 to the 5 number of nums, and each number can be any integer. Alright, and big O of n time is what's sort of the tricky part. So before we start thinking about big O of n solution, let's just think of a brute force first. Hopefully that can help us. So we could just what could we do? I mean, we could just sort it first. Sort nums, and then iterate through, keeping a counter of the longest consecutive element sequence, and that should give us an answer. However, that will be in n log n time to sort it, just using sort in C++, and then big O of n to iterate through again and counting the longest sequence. So that will give us a total of n log n, as it outweighs, as that one, as sorting it outweighs the iterating, and space will also just be constant. Now that's not good enough for this problem apparently. We need to find an algorithm that runs in big O of n time. So instantly that tells me there's no sorting. I'm trying not to use the hint sort of that this is a hashing question, but okay, from that we know hashing is involved, which is the problem here from picking a question from a list, is that we know hashing is involved. If we just picked a random one, that's much better practice, like a root interview. You don't actually know which approach you need. But anyway, let's use the information we have to our advantage. So we need to use hashing somehow. Let's see. Interesting question. What could we do to do it in big of n time in one pass through? I think the hashing actually throws me off a bit more. But let's just think about it a little bit more. It's a medium question, so it's not going to be the easiest thing in the world straight away. But, I mean, if we hash 100 at the start, and then what? We get to the next, I don't know. I mean, we could just iterate through and hash it, and then what? I was going to say we can check if the element before or after has also been hashed. And if so, we can sort of add one. Let me just write down these thoughts just so hopefully it's a bit easier for me to understand, and also for you guys to understand. So an approach that we could do would be to iterate through nums. Actually first, if we use an unordered set maybe, and then iterate through nums. It's not great. Well, how do you use a set? Can you have... Does a set take two values? This is elementary stuff that I definitely should know, but I'm not sure. I'll just continue down this thought though for now. So we iterate through nums. And then for each number, we check if the number before or after it is in the set. I think that's a start we could think about. So if a number before or after it is in the set, then we have to do something. I feel like I'm going down the wrong path here. The hashing sort of hint is throwing me off. Anyway, let's think about this. So we start at 0. Minus 1 and 1's not in the set. So we do nothing. Go to 3, same thing, nothing. Go to 7, same thing, nothing. Now we go to 2 and we see that 3 is in the set. So what do we do? Don't quite know, but let's just improvise anything now. So if 1 is, we set value to key number. I don't know what's the best way. No. What's not equals 1? I don't know what to do. Set the value to the key equals maybe what? previous number. I'll just do this for now, just so we know, even though it's second in C++. But so the value to the current key would be the previous number key plus the next number key. Yeah, getting somewhere now, I think. Also plus 1. Now, do we even have to check if the numbers before are in the set? Because if they're not, they would be 0. Oh, I don't know. And then, anyway, after that, I'll sharpen that part out in a second. But after that, I'm thinking then we can iterate through the set and just return the largest key. Maybe. So I have not explained this very well in a real interview. You definitely want to be much more clearer than this. But I mean, I'm still talking through my thoughts, so it's not the end of the world. So what I'm thinking is that we use an unordered set, and then we iterate through each element in nums. And now this is the tricky part, is... Ooh, no, because we have to update something when we do that. Anyway, so for each number, if it appears instantly, the key, not the key, it's not meant to be the key, that's meant to be the value. Set the value. For each number, if it's in nums, instantly the value of that key must be 1. Because it's part of a at least a length 1 sequence. Now we also want to Ooh, I'm getting a bit tripped up in my head. So maybe if I go through an example, it might be a bit simpler. So if nums equals, let's do a shorter version of that maybe, but if we have that equals 4, we would go through and we would add 0. So, not sure. No, unordered map's fine, I reckon. Would just have 0 and 1 there, and then this is the map. We don't need to have that. We know that's the map. And then we would get the same thing. Come on. The same thing with 3 and 1. Fix this as well. And then the same thing again, and then we add 4. But now, as 3's in there, 4 would have to be... Just trying to think which ones we have to update after it. 4 is 1 plus this one, plus a 5, which doesn't exist at the moment. But now we also have to update this one. Or do we even have to do that? Because we're just keeping track of the maximum. Maybe we don't have to do that, but no. No, we definitely do, because if we get a 2 after, we have to make sure that's updated properly. So maybe we would just update that to 2. Not sure. This is where I'm getting a bit lost. Now we add the 5. And now, so 5 starts at 1, we check the 4, it's there, so we get it to 3. And then we also have to update the rest of them to 3, which is really annoying. And then, anyway, we iterate through, and we return 3, which is correct, but this process is not great. Because updating the values of them all just adds more time complexity, which I think is where we will get stuck. So I'm thinking that we need to think about this a bit more before we move on. So what could we do? I think checking the previous and the next one could give us something, but I'm not sure. Because there's lots of updating with my current approach, which will increase our time complexity. Because I don't think it's quite big O of n anymore. So let's think about this a little bit more before we do anything. I don't know if anyone's in the stream and has any ideas. Feel free to give a tiny hint if you want. Brain's a bit fried. It's midnight where I am. So what could we do? I feel like I'm pretty close to it with this approach. Iterating through numbers, through the nums, and then for each number, check if the previous number's in the set. But then what do we do? Oh dear, I don't quite know. I mean, we could do some tricky stuff like we only have to update the ends of the strings, or the consecutive sequences. So maybe instead of updating them all in the sequence, we would then also update prev number, value, and prev number. Take the old value, previous number. Oh, I don't know. Do that first. Update previous number. Take prev number value plus 1. Yep. And with ooh, I don't know, that seems really complicated. But I mean, it's a thought we can go down, and hopefully it'll take us somewhere. So if we do that, and then we'll also update the next number. So it'd be next number. And so what that would do is, let me get a bit of paint up. So what that will do is if our map ends up looking, I don't know how I can really illustrate this too well. If we've got, say, one, no, not one actually. We've got, oh no, it has to be in order then doesn't it? No, it doesn't. What am I talking about? It does not have to be in order. That's silly. Say if our map has 5, 3, 4. No, actually, just trying to think of a better example. That's 5, 3, 6, 7, and 2. So at the moment, hold on, the value of 3 and 2 should be 2. A different color. And 5, 6, and 7 should all be 3. Now, if we wanted to add 4, I'll do that in green to say it's new. We would make 4 would become. Ooh, yeah. Okay, we don't have to update the previous and next number at all, unless it's the only one. But 4 we would update to be the score of the value of 3 plus the value of 5 plus 1, which is 6. And then we would update 3 take 2 plus 1, was it? Or minus 1? 3 take 2 plus 1, which would be 3, 1, 2, and we'd update that to be 6 as well. And then we would update 5 plus 3 take 1, which is 7, and update that to be 6. I think that's an idea. It's probably nowhere near the best solution, but hopefully it's a working big O of n solution. So we don't actually need to update the previous and next number of values, because after this, unless they are 1, then they'll be in the middle of a sequence, so we won't have to worry about it. And then then we just iterate through the set again and return the largest key, which should be good. So what's the time complexity of this? So it's big O of n straight away to iterate through nums, and then for each one we have to check, which is big O of 1 to check on average case if a number is in the set. And then we also have to, if it is, we'll have to do just some updating, which is also big O of 1 on average case. And then iterating through it again to find the largest value, not the key. It is just big O of n again, which gives us big O of n and equals numbers of size. I think space complexity. The worst case is big O of n, or I mean, I guess it's m, or n equals number of unique elements in nums. I think that's good. I mean, we'll find out after this, but hopefully this is some sort of good or feasible approach. Anyway, let's start coding it up. I think I'm happy to do that. In a real interview, I'd ask the interviewer themselves if they're happy with this, or if I should think about it a bit more. That's sort of a tricky way, a sneaky way to ask if your solution is good enough to start coding it without directly asking that. So straight away we want to initialize our set and then iterate through nums, and then return value in the set. So we're using unordered set. If I recall correctly, you can use 2 values. I actually have no idea if you can. Otherwise, I guess you could use a hash map as well and just double check that you're not adding the same thing in again. So maybe it is a hash map. I'm gonna double check this before I go down the wrong path, because that's embarrassing if I've gotten this wrong. Can it take in 1 or 2? Key and a value, right? Let's just look at an example. No, it only takes in 1. Does it? It's plus set. Am I being silly? I think I'm being silly. It's just a hash map. We need to use. No, it's not called that. In C++, it's called an unordered map. The key is an integer and the value is an integer. And now, since we're using a map instead of a hash map instead of a set, we just have to double check that we're not adding duplicates, I guess. So what could we call that? We could just call that map. Now, is that a we'll call it nums map. I don't want to use a reserved keyword. And then so we iterate through nums, and then we can just use a range-based for loop. I think it's what it's called. So just each number n in nums. We want to add to the nums map, which equals 1 at the start. Now I'm just trying to think. I'll do it line by line, and then we'll see if we can put it into less lines after. So we want to set it to 1 because it's by itself. And we also want to check if the other ones exist. Can't quite remember what the sort of shortcuts are. If they start at 0, not. We'll do some testing afterwards, but I'll do I guess we can actually just do nums map equals 1 plus nums map and take 1. Yeah, that's all we need. Plus nums. And plus 1. Now we're not considering the edge cases for that one just yet. It should be fine. The only way this could be wrong is if an uninitialized value or a key in the map is not 0. I can't think what it is. I can't remember what it is. But I mean, we can go through this. It's just LeetCode practice and then test it. In a real interview, you'd want to know that. Otherwise, you can explain yourself, I guess, and just say, I don't know, it's pretty embarrassing not to know that, to be honest, and the fact that I don't know that is pretty bad. But let's just continue. So we do that, and then we have to update nums map n-1 and n's plus 1. So, I mean, I'll write it out and then I'll look at it, see if it looks wrong. So, nums map. No, hold on. It's n-1 minus nums map n-1 plus 1. So we can just get rid of that 1 then. I wonder if that works. Now we'll just iterate that. And then the same for plus 1. The only problem is if it's 0, then we're in trouble. So I'll come back to that. And let's just find the largest value in the set now. So you'll start at 0, and then you just want to iterate through nums map. Just do this res equals max. Second, and that should give us the max. Okay, there we go. So we want to fix this part here. We'll check if it's not 0 first, which we can just do that. Or we can use a fancy notation. Can't remember how to do it. Ooh, how do you do it? I think it's an equal sign. And then our condition, which is checking if it is greater than 0. If it is, we just set it to itself plus 1. Else, nothing. I'm not sure if that's the best way to do it, but I mean, I'll just test it just because it's LeetCode practice. In a real interview, I would be more careful. Just change these to pluses. I'm curious if this one would work, but I think we can test it because it's just a LeetCode practice. In a real interview, you'd want to test it yourself on paper. Oh, it's not. Of course, it's result. So we've gotten through this part somehow with no errors, which is good at least since we got there. Doesn't prove anything though. We've somehow outputted 9 here, even though there's less than 9 elements there. Alrighty, so let's go through it by hand, an example to see where we've gone wrong. So for this example, so we get 100. So our map, it should be 1 if an uninitialized 1 is equal to 0. So we'll just continue down that path for now, see if the mistakes anywhere else. And then we go 4, that's also 1. And then we go 200, that's also 1. And then we go 1, that's also 1. And then we go 3. And now that I should be doing this line by line. I'm not sure why I've done it like this. So yeah, I'll start a new one from the next interesting case. So now when we add 3, it is 1 plus the value at 2 plus the value at 4. So this should actually be 2. And then we want to update the value at 4 to be itself plus 1. So that should be 2 as well, as far as I'm aware. Now if we do that again for 2, mistake, it's definitely somewhere in here. But if we go for 2, we set it to 1 plus the value at 1, which is 1. So it's already 1 plus 1 plus the value at 3, which is 2, which equals 4. And we also want to update the value at, hold on, at 1. I'm trying to think, do we need to get the value at the previous one, or we can just use this? No, we can't use that one. So we're at 2 and we've got 4, and 1 is 1, so we want to update oh dear, I think the mistake might be here as well. Why can't I compute this in my head anymore? What's going on? Writing it out like this has messed me up. I'm gonna write it out in the longer notation just so it's easier to read. So we want to update the previous number minus the previous number's value. So if, well, I'll write down the main thing first. So previous number, why have I done it like that? It's n take 1. Is it? No, it's that. N take 1. My brain is broken. So if the previous number is, we want to update the value of the key. Why have I done that? Alright, the value. What's happened? My brain is just. This is not good in an interview. You don't want this to happen. What was my example? So we add the 6, we add the 4, and we get the 3 plus the 3 plus the 2 plus 1 equals 6. And then we want to update at 3 minus 2 plus 1. So the key is n minus 1. What was it? Whoops. The key is 3 minus 2 plus 1. So it's n minus 1, take n minus 1's value, plus 1. N minus 1, take, let's map, n minus 1, plus 1, which I worked out before, and for some reason my brain just couldn't do it again. Alright, yeah. Plus, if it's 0. So I'll add that in too. If it's not 0, I mean. If it's not 0, we do that. Else we do nothing. I think so. Believe so. And then we do the same thing for the next. Yep, same thing, but instead it is plus 1 plus the thing, take 1, I think. Alright, let's get rid of that. See if that helps. Otherwise, it's this part that's the issue. Or my whole approach is the issue. So that's actually changed nothing. So maybe we'll do this. Because I don't know what it finds. If it sets it to 1 by itself or something, I'm not sure. I'll do some experimenting and then I might research what it is. Ask ChatGPT or something, so that's quick. Well, yeah, what if I print? Just do some testing. If I print that and print the next one too. And I also want to know what n is at the moment. What do we get here? We get when we're at 100 before we do anything. The one before it is 0 and the one after it is 0. That's what we want. And then we get to 4, the same thing. Get to 1, the same thing. Now we get to 3. Two is at 2's at 0, which is right, but then 4 is at 3 for some reason. It should be at 1. Actually, now what's probably better to actually print out the values as we're iterating it once it's done. So n is it the first, and then map n is the second, and then we just do that, and let's see what we get. Obviously you can't do this in an interview, but I think this is better, better understanding, better learning than just Googling it straight away. So what is our issue here? For some reason we've got n minus 1. So I'm guessing when we access it, maybe it's updating it to something, or it's including it in the thing. Would that matter? I'm not super sure. Can we view that somewhere else? Okay, that's not what we want. So I'm not sure why what the order matters either. Ooh, that's not What have we done? Um, hmm. Okay, maybe we can just change it. So we want to check. Is it nums map dot cat, or is it find, or is it something else entirely? Maybe it's. Does this have going to be more than one? Is there? I don't know. Oh, we have that for now. Just so you can see my thoughts. And the end plus 1, 2. Then we can do this. And then else if only one of them. Okay. Else if only that one, then it would be that. Else if only that one. We got those brackets right. Why is that one in its own bracket? Else if only that one. That. Else, this is not the best way to do this. I don't know. Let's try that maybe. Just to see what happens. I've lost myself. That's resulted in the same thing. It looks like, yeah. So it's adding n-1 and then +1, which is not quite what we want to happen. I'm not sure why that's happening. I might have to ask Mr. GPT for a hint on where I'm going wrong. I think I've got the main idea, or not, maybe not the best main idea, but I think I've got a main idea. Well, I've had what I had before, and I'll ask GPT. Oh, actually, no, I have what I had after. So I can see what I'm trying to do. So I'll just say, I am trying to solve LeetCode 1, 2, 8. Yes, consecutive sequence in C++. My solution is not working. Please give me a hint. Don't give me any actual code. Just a small hint. Here's my solution so far. And we'll just paste that one in, and hopefully it doesn't give us too much. Think about the conditions you're checking and the way you're updating values of the map. Okay, be more specific. That's not what I meant. Let's just redo that one. That was not better. Just give me a hint. Updating the nums map. That's what I. Oh. I'm not checking every number. This is not good. Not good. So where are we going wrong? Is it the updating, or doesn't say which one, which part of this? I'm not sure where we're going wrong. Maybe change this. do where am I wrong? This would be an interview fail, unfortunately. So the value we're associating is not correct. I don't want to look at that yet. Presence of the current number, now that's neighbors. So what they've done is very different. I don't want to look at that. What's cooking? Hey, welcome back. Exer, I'm not sure how to say your name, but welcome back. How have you been? How have you been? I'm struggling with this LeetCode, unfortunately. Try not to use too many hints, but I'm stuck. My cooking is burning. So it's from the 150, the interview 150. What's the issue? Yeah, so it's, even though I know it's a hash map issue, we have to we're given a unsorted array of integers nums and return the length of the longest consecutive elements sequence in big O of n times, so no sorting. So I know we need a hash map. So what I thought is, practice my explaining again here. So if we use an unordered map, I thought I'm set before, but we can't do that. I'll just fix that. And then we iterate through nums, and then for each number in nums, we check if the number before or after it is in the map. So I have not written this very well, but if the previous number and the next number is in the map, we maybe I can use my illustration better. Does the array have distinct elements? No, we can have repeats, which I'm not sure if that messes things up. But so each sort of value in the map, if it's on the end of a sequence, then its value is the length of the sequence. I'm not sure if I've explained that very well. So I'll go through this example I made before. So if we get given, I'll start from the start actually. So our input has 5, 3, 6, 7, 2. We don't need a hash map for this, just a set. But it says hash map here. I thought hash map. I thought we could use a set, but I completely forgot how sets work, which is annoying. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. Answer here will be 5, not 6. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I understand that. Okay, so that's it. Okay, I'll try thinking about a way we could use a set. Let's change these. I'll get rid of all this inside stuff because it's probably a bit wrong. So as we go through, we want, my first thought was we have to check if the previous element was in there or the next element was in there. And for some reason, want a hint in a second maybe. I'll keep thinking about it. But I have very limited experience with sets. You've only got a key, right? You don't have its value, or do you? Can you have 2? I don't know. And it's a very obvious thing that I should definitely know. C++. C++. Let me ask ChatGPT. Yeah, only one value. That's what I thought. So my idea wouldn't work with a set. My idea was to have each number has a value which has the length of the current sequence that it's in. So I can tell already that that's not the way to do it. If we can use a set and there's only one value, there must be a better way. Ooh, I don't know. Maybe a little hint might be welcome. That's my music gone, by the way. So what could we do? Just need to find the starting element of each increasing sequence. Just need to find the starting element of each increasing sequence. And then what? Or maybe... Ooh, my brain is fried. I'm having random thoughts go through my head. Once you find the starting element, you can just use while set find element is not equal to the end. We keep counting. Ooh, and then we've got, okay. I might have to paste that in just so I can tell what it is. I'll paste it in so I can, yeah, the indentation. I can't read that very well. Let me just paste it in by itself so I can try to understand it. So we've got our while. Oh no. Oh dear. Let me try and work this out. There. Ah, okay, no. So it's not that. So while we're doing that, we have your print thing, which you used for later. Did I just speak up there? Alright. So we've got the element is nums. The C length, I'm guessing means the consecutive sequence length, starts at 0. And now while the next one's in there. Oh, well, we want to erase the current one and then go to the next one and increase it. And that blows my mind a bit. So you have to do that after adding them all to the set, it looks like. I can't remember what thing you need. Just do. And I'm not sure if that'll work or if we need in place, insert or in place. Looks fine. Line 5 will cause issues. Why is that? Why is that? Do we have to initialize it to be anything, or Just one in. Oh yeah, of course. That's left over from my set. Thank you for pointing that one out. Yeah. Set. Now, is there anything else? And then, what do we need? Do we need? Yeah, we need the max length. Is that in the right place? So how do you figure out the starting element? Oh dear. We need to remove the rest of the things. The starting element would just be the minimum in nums, right? I think. I don't know. I'm not sure if I quite understand it. I should. So how do we know when we're starting? Was it meant to be nums I or the minimum in nums? Oh no, I don't get it. The starting element of every sequence. Sure that the input is 2, 3, 4, 8, 9. The starting would be 2. Yeah, it would be 2 and 8. So what could we do? How could we find that? How can we find that without having to sort first? Oh dear. Oh no. Inserted all the elements in the set. Try to make use of it. Okay. I mean, we can iterate through and find the numbers that the previous numbers aren't in the set, if that makes sense. What did I just say? I've just forgotten what I've just said in my brain. Every number in the set that the previous number's not in there, then it's the starting point. Yeah. So if the element take 1 doesn't exist in the set, then that's the starting point. Okay. So what do we do with that? Have you only given me part of the code on purpose? There's the I there. Where do we get the I? I'm just gonna change the variable name just so it's easier to read. C. Is that supposed to be the same thing there? Guessing. Just so it's easier for me to read. So once you find the starting point, you just use that while loop to get the length of the sequence from that start point. Okay. So how do we find the starting point as best as possible? I guess we would just iterate through nums set again, and then each time we find a element that has no element -1, we do this, and nums I is that element. I'll try that. So we can just do for set, I guess. What would it be? It would be nums set. Or would it be count or find? I can't remember. I'm gonna have to just yeah, count it. Is it first in a set? I can't quite remember. Why iterate on the set? You can iterate on the array. Oh, that's very true. Is it any? Is it ever? Whoops. Are there any? Is there any difference of doing that? I know iterating over nums is, yeah, I know that iterating over the array is better. I wonder if iterating on the set is worse though. Maybe there's some underlying under the hood stuff that makes it worse, but yeah, that's true. Going over the array is much better. Each number in eyes. I'm not sure if count is the most efficient function to use for a set. -1. And then that's what we just put that in there, right? So find elements at the start of a sequence, and then it's just find element of a sequence. So we need our max length to start. Use find. Okay. And if we don't find it, then it's at the end, which I always forget. So that's why I use count. That's a habit I need to do. So if it's not in there, then it will have gotten to the end. Fair enough. And then we've got our max length. Oops. As far as I can tell, that looks all good. Let me now try it. I'll run it. There's an issue. Oh no, let me try and find the issue. Nums. What did I do? That one might be it. No. What happens to find if we don't find it? I just haven't used find before. There's 2. Oh no, there's 2. That's not good. Oh, this is embarrassing. Line 18. Oh, very true. I wonder if this part's right there. I haven't used it before. There we go. Thank you, Axa, for the help. Let me just double check it's working, and then I'll really try to make sure I understand it and explain it to myself as well. Thank you, Axa. Thank you for popping in and saving me. So we're going to initialize our set. I'm just making sure the comments are good. Iterate through nums, adding each number to the set. And then we want to iterate through the nums set. Not through the nums set, we want to iterate through nums. For each number, if I take 1 is not in the set, I is the starting element of a sequence. Use num instead of I. Yeah, I probably shouldn't I? I try to be fancy and just use the I that you had. If num take 1's not in the set, num's the starting element of a sequence. And then we want to find the length of the sequence. So element is just the current one we're looking at. current length loop, that's self-explanatory. And now the loop just goes while next, pretty much while the next one. Is there a better way to write that, maybe? I think that's fine. Well, the current element is in the set. Why do we erase it? Why would we erase it? Because otherwise we'd be stuck in the loop. Fair enough. Is there any... I guess it's just the way that it's written that you have to erase it, otherwise you get stuck in the loop. No, you wouldn't, because element gets updated. Because you're iterating on the array. And there are duplicate values. That's a very good point. Very good point. Very good point. Erase the current element from the set. To avoid duplicates in numbers. What would happen if there wasn't a duplicate? Would it just unnecessarily count things again? What would happen if there was a duplicate value in the array? I don't know. Yeah, so if there's 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we would get, the set would just be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it would get the correct answer. It would just do it unnecessarily, do it again unnecessarily, but it would still get the correct answer, I think. But that's just saving time. Fair enough. Next element, increase the and then oops. Alright. Would I have gotten that on a good day? Let me think. Would I have solved this on a good day? Even on a good day? I have to be pretty switched on, pretty lucky, I think. But thank you Axel, for popping in and helping me and saving me on that one, and teaching me as well. That's really helpful. I'll submit that. So we save the comments and everything new. All right. Is there anything better? Well, that's a short one. Oh, I guess it's a bit annoying to read when it's Python. C++. Oh, it's 1 AM. Oh, I don't think I have time for another one. For another LeetCode. I left this a bit late to start the stream, I'm sorry. Let's just make sure we understand this one though. So this is just a brute force approach. Just going through them all. That's pretty explanatory. Approach 2 was just another brute force. 3 and 4 use hash maps and a hash set. So 3 made a map. And set its value to true if it's in nums. And then it goes through nums again. If the previous one, oh, so that sort of does the same thing, and it finds the starting elements by doing this, I'm guessing. So for each number, if the number before it equals 0, the current number equals 5. Yeah, so I think that's what that's doing, which is just a little bit more inefficient. And then we go do the same max length thing, and then we just go through it over and over again. So it's still big O of n, but it's a bit inefficient. This one, insert them into the set thingy, go through each number. The previous one is in there. Yes, that's exactly what you gave me, it looks like, without even erasing. So yours is probably even better. Alrighty. Just curious. Oh, that's an ugly blind code. Alright, so what does this one do? Yeah. Those 5 and 6 lines are really ugly. Yeah, that's not right. Doesn't 5, 6 line 5 6 line code liner codes are ugly. Yeah, that's not great. What does it mean though? So R0. I mean, they could at least have written what R represents. What's the result? I guess you go through each number, and what if we've already seen it? Then we just continue. Otherwise, the result is the max, or it's the max of. I can't even read that. I think that's pretty pointless to try to understand. Doing that in an interview would probably get you kicked out, to be honest. Alright. Thank you again, Axia, however you want me to pronounce your name, for helping me on this one. Lucky for you, you'll be in my YouTube video, which no one will watch because I've actually absolutely embarrassed myself on this question. But for those watching on YouTube, thank you for watching this one. Hopefully you somehow enjoyed watching my incorrect process for solving it, and then having to be saved by a hero. Hopefully you learnt how I should have done it, as I did too. I definitely have a habit of overcomplicating things, I think. It seems to be. But live and learn. If you enjoyed this one, leave a like and all that. And any feedback, subscribe definitely if you want to hopefully watch me improve over time. I'll catch you in the next one. Alright.